Get ready for the action, because we are kicking things off with a huge statement from Oscar Piastri. McLaren driver Oscar Piastri is weighing in on the future of Formula One, suggesting that Max Verstappen leaving the sport would be a massive shame for the entire industry. Piastri believes that the four-time world champion has been the benchmark for the last 5 or 6 years, and he feels it would be a big loss for the sport if Max Verstappen decided to step away from the grid right now. We dive into what this means for the championship race ahead.
Stop using your finger for notes, sketches, and edits. This Jam Jake stylus pen gives your iPad a smoother, more precise writing feel with palm rejection so your hand can rest naturally on the screen. It charges fast, works for hours, and comes with replacement tips. Perfect for school, work, or creative projects. Check the link in the comments to grab it on Amazon.
Next up, we shift gears to the high-stakes maneuvering happening behind the scenes at the top level of the sport. McLaren CEO Zak Brown has issued a serious warning about the potential for another team alliance, specifically concerning Mercedes and the Alpine squad. Brown believes that allowing a new A-B team alliance would be a mistake for Formula One, citing historical examples where such closeness has compromised sporting fairness and integrity. We explore the deep-seated concerns about co-ownership and the potential ripple effects across the grid. Now, let's talk about the technical reality of the 2026 season and how the new engine regulations are reshaping the power dynamic. The technical reset has created a massive divergence, with Mercedes and Ferrari emerging as clear beneficiaries due to their superior control over the hybrid systems. We look at how the superior integration of the 50-50 power split is giving them a significant advantage over customer teams like McLaren, and what this means for the fight for the Constructors' Championship. Discover the software gap that is defining the new era. Finally, we look at the intense pressure building for the upcoming Miami Grand Prix and what McLaren is planning to do to compete. Reigning world champion McLaren is preparing to bring an entirely new car across the North American rounds as they bid to reignite their 2026 season. Team principal Andrea Stella confirms that they expect to see a completely new MCL40 in Miami and Canada, aiming for a competitive performance against the established powerhouses. Don't miss the full breakdown of the technical battles and what this means for the next race. Stay with us. Oscar Piastri has expressed strong reservations about Max Verstappen potentially leaving Formula One, calling it not a great look for the sport. The McLaren driver voiced his concern following Verstappen's recent comments about not enjoying the current formula due to engine rule changes this season. Verstappen, who has secured 71 F1 victories, has recently been considering his future, evidenced by his best finish being 6th in recent races. Formula One has implemented a series of rule adjustments to address concerns surrounding the new engine regulations, with most changes set to take effect at the upcoming Miami Grand Prix on May 1st and 3rd. Piastri, alongside teammate Lando Norris, is hopeful that these modifications will ensure the retention of top drivers, including Verstappen, on the grid. Piastri stated, "I think it would be a shame for the sport to lose Max, especially at this point in his career as well. I think it would be a big loss for the sport as a whole." He emphasized that drivers aim to compete against the best, highlighting Verstappen's benchmark status over the last 5 to 6 years. Verstappen's dominance is underscored by his 4 consecutive drivers' championships between 2021 and 2024, though he narrowly missed the 2023 title by 2 points to Norris. While Verstappen has explored options outside of F1, including competing in sports cars, he recently participated in qualifying at the Nürburgring. Norris praised Verstappen's achievements, noting that his 4 world championships solidify his status as one of the sport's elite drivers. Norris concluded that while Verstappen presents challenges, racing against a 4-time champion is always exciting and a significant asset to the sport, expressing optimism that the situation will improve. McLaren's CEO, Zak Brown, has issued a strong warning against any potential alliance between Mercedes and Alpine, citing concerns that such a move would compromise the integrity of Formula One. The warning comes amid reports that Mercedes is considering acquiring a minority stake in the Alpine squad by purchasing the 24% share currently held by the American Autro Capital Investment Group. While it has been clarified that a deal would not result in Alpine becoming a junior Mercedes squad, discussions about closer collaboration between the two outfits have taken place, particularly in the context of the recent Concord Agreement, which included discussions on the potential divestment of a Red Bull team. Brown, who has historically opposed co-ownership and A-B team arrangements, believes opening the door for another combined force would be a mistake for the sport. He stressed that history shows instances where closer team cooperation has led to compromised sporting fairness. Brown cited several historical examples, including instances where teams benefited from shared resources, such as Daniel Ricciardo gaining a fast lap point in Singapore in 2024, intellectual property violations concerning brake ducts, and unfair financial advantages resulting from personnel movements between affiliated teams without compensation. He drew a parallel to football, questioning the fairness of a scenario where two teams owned by the same group could afford to lose while another faced relegation. He asserted that allowing such alliances runs a high risk of undermining the perception of 11 independent racing teams, which he feels is crucial for fan engagement. Brown was unequivocal, stating that his stance is not specific to any single team, but applies to all A-B teams and co-ownership arrangements. He emphasized that the principle is about the health of the sport, not personal animosity toward any individual or team. The development is notable given that Mercedes is McLaren's engine supplier, and former Red Bull boss Christian Horner is also reportedly pushing for a minority share in Alpine. Separately, Brown expressed a positive view of Christian Horner, stating he would welcome him back into the paddock, praising him as a great operator with a strong track record, despite past tensions. Brown believes Horner's passion and experience would be a significant asset to the sport. McLaren is preparing to unveil an entirely new car for its upcoming North American Formula One rounds, as it aims to reignite its 2026 season. The team, reigning world champions in both 2024 and 2025, has faced a challenging start to the campaign, including a disappointing event in China, where both MCL40s failed to start due to electrical problems. Following an upturn in performance in Japan, where Oscar Piastri secured a second-place finish, McLaren is making significant revisions to the MCL40 ahead of the Miami Grand Prix. Team principal Andrea Stella confirmed the intention to deliver a completely new car, focusing heavily on aerodynamic upgrades for the North American races. Stella stated that this approach is expected from competitors, suggesting the focus will be on performance enhancements within the same timeframe rather than changes in the car's basic configuration. McLaren is currently third in the championship, trailing Mercedes by 89 points, but the team is looking to recover ground. The expectation is that the revised MCL40 will offer a more competitive package in Miami and Canada, building on a decent performance scene in Japan. Historically, McLaren has secured victories in Miami in 2024, with Lando Norris achieving his maiden win, and in 2025, with Oscar Piastri taking the win. The narrative surrounding Formula One is also being covered by Philip Horton, who has been a full-time reporter since 2014, finding the sport's behind-the-scenes dynamics highly engaging. The 2026 Formula One season has immediately exposed a significant power dynamic shift, with the new hybrid regulations favoring manufacturers who control both hardware and software. While the FIA introduced the rules to narrow the performance gap through standardized hardware and simplified aerodynamics, the opening rounds have revealed a stark divergence in how teams are managing the high electrical output era. The clinical reality is that manufacturers are excelling at energy harvesting during braking, a critical metric for safety and performance. Consequently, works teams are expected to maintain their podium dominance until customer teams can close the gap in energy management software and chassis integration. Mercedes and Ferrari have emerged as the clear beneficiaries of this shift. These manufacturers have achieved superior thermal and packaging efficiency, leveraging the 50-50 power split between the internal combustion engine ICE and electric deployment. Mercedes currently leads the Constructors' Championship with 135 points, driven by the dominance of the W17. Scuderia Ferrari sits second with 90 points, benefiting from the removal of the MGUH, which allowed them to map deployment strategies perfectly synced with the SF26's aerodynamics. Customer teams are struggling significantly. McLaren, despite being the defending champions, sits third with 46 points, an 89-point deficit from their suppliers. This highlights a fundamental disconnect between the cooling requirements of the 2026 Mercedes power unit and the chassis-led aerodynamics of the customer designs. Conversely, Haas has leveraged the Ferrari white label approach to leapfrog established teams, currently sitting fourth with 18 points. Performance disparities are rooted in the software gap. Alpine's switch to Mercedes customer engines has yielded mixed results, leaving them nearly a second per lap slower than the works team. Williams continues to struggle, with reports suggesting the FW48 is overweight due to packaging issues with the new energy stores. The newest entrant, Cadillac F1 team, is finding the transition challenging, reinforcing that power unit parity on paper does not equate to performance without years of integration data. Furthermore, the debut of new power unit programs, including Red Bull, Ford, and the Audi Works project, is showing growing pains. Red Bull is currently sixth with 16 points, suggesting their bespoke power unit is currently limiting their performance. Similarly, Aston Martin's partnership with Honda has resulted in a catastrophic start. The data suggests that the path to victory in this era is through total system integration, shifting the focus from pure mechanical upgrades to software optimization via the FIA's additional development and upgrade opportunities framework. For now, the head start enjoyed by Mercedes and Ferrari remains the defining characteristic of the 2026 competitive landscape.